Hi, this is Ben Ivey, the fulfillment artist, and in this video I'm going to teach you how does feminine and masculine energy affect relationships. Now, I love speaking about this in seminars, like I can't even tell you. When we talk about sort of females and males in relationships, there are so many funny stories that come up of just miscommunication. Right? And what I want you to bear in mind is, let's use the example of men are from Mars, women are from Venus, right? We are made completely differently, and our brains are actually, like, if you look at them, they're created with different functions, right? We're actually different species, right? In essence, okay? So if you haven't read the book Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, I think it's a great book, and it will really help you to understand everything I'm saying here on a deeper level. So let's start off, shall we? So let's start off with feminine energy. So I want you to imagine that feminine energy is flowing, right? It's like an ocean. It's constantly flowing up and down, right? What often happens is, let's say it's flowing, it may turn into a tsunami, right? A tsunami of all these just emotions that just need to come out, okay? Now, often in relationships, when guys see this, they're like, what the hell is going on? Right? Man, she's just crazy. All of a sudden, suddenly, bang! Right? And that's what can happen in relationships, right? A tsunami came out of nowhere, right? Now, this is what often happens in relationships. A woman comes out, having a tsunami, telling all the problems, all these issues, and guys are like, oh, I don't want to hear, I don't want to hear, I don't want to hear. And then they'll argue, and then what happens is a guy will want to go to his man cave, right? Guys like to process things by themselves, think, okay, think about this, I'm getting really angry, I need to just process this, and then they'll come back, right? That's the worst thing you can do in relationships. Because what happens there is the female energy is like, oh, he doesn't care, right? And I want you, even if you're female or you're male, just watching this, I want you to understand the different perspectives. So female energy is there and they just want to be listened to, they want to be heard, and the guy's like, oh, this is crazy, and then he may try and fix the problems. Don't try and fix the problems, that's not what you want to do. So how do you solve this? So instead, it's something very different, right? So I want you to imagine that the guy is going to be like a sort of giant palm tree on an island, and a tsunami sort of happens. It can go a hurricane, right? It goes there, and then the palm tree just stays still. So what happens is, when a woman often wants to have a tsunami or the sort of feminine energy, it's just letting out all these different emotions, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and then they'll say stuff which can be seen as blaming you, and then and you did this, and you did this, and in your head as a guy, you're gonna be like, I did not do that. That did not happen. Right? You don't want to say that at that point, right? Instead, you want to say, okay, and listen actively. And then they'll keep going and they'll keep going. I mean, that's 2 hours will go by and you'll be like, man, this is a storm and a half. I mean, you're going to be back like this. And then what will happen is they'll be like, oh, I feel so much better, right? And I promise you, this happens in so many relationships. And if you can understand that this is like an emotional whirlwind that they need to release and you need to be there for them, right, this will really help you understand and be strong in your masculine energy, okay? So if you imagine the feminine is sort of emotional, what happens in the masculine energy, it's easy to be angry and get defensive, right? You want to be strong and maintain your structure and be there and be present for your woman whilst they go through this, right? So what other things do we have in relationships? So I want you to imagine that female energy is like an interconnected web. Okay, it's like a web where everything's interconnected, right? So if, for example, we put 500 light bulbs in a room and one gets a scratch on, boom, all the lights go off, right? And this is where you do one thing wrong and it affects every single little area. And well, I remember when you did this and you didn't put your dishwasher away or something like that. So now right? And they're affected by so many different things, right? And guys don't really understand this, because guys are so logical. When I'm referring to guys and women here, I'm talking about female and masculine energy, because we have both. Right? Very logical. We think in boxes. This is my relationship box. This is my to-do list box. This is my children box. This is my fun box. This is my friends box. We just have a ton of different boxes. So we get confused when we talk about the kitchen box, and then suddenly it's affected your relationship. You're like, how? This box is hit. And we get very confused. And then when you jump from one thing to another, guys just haven't got a clue what's going on, right? So you need to understand that when this happens in relationship, this often leads to conflict. So if you can understand the other person's point of view And where they're coming from, it just allows so much ease to occur in the relationship as opposed to, constant bickering. Right? And another distinction I want to make. So if you imagine that female energy makes little shit big. Let's say that you have forgotten to take out the garbage. This will be the biggest thing ever, and she will have a massive go at you. You're like, what is going on? Or something told her, something at work, and you're like, what? That's really minute, right? You don't say this to her, right? You need to come from an understanding place, right? Because women want to be understood. And it's about understanding and actually listening and accepting that happens, right? I'm not saying that everything small they make big, right? This is just generally speaking, right? And what do guys do? Guys make really big shit so small. And let's say their business is going on, everything's going wrong, and they're like, okay, yeah, I mean, we've got a little bit of an issue at work, right? Everything's going wrong, or their arms hanging off, and they're like, yeah, it's a little bit of a problem, this, right? So there's so much fun, and in relationships, there's so many different issues that occur where people just don't understand those different perspectives, right? And how, guys want to feel, that you really trust them. I mean, there's so many different distinctions, right? I just wanted to share some funny stories, and let me share this one. So I remember speaking to my girlfriend Ev, and we were going through like everything, and she was telling me all this stuff, and I was like, right, okay, what is going on here? I was like, honey, do you want me to solve this, or do you want me to listen? Like, what do you want? Because I'm confused. Like, does she want help with this? Does she want me to listen? Like, what does she want? And this is the reply. She says, I want you to solve it by listening to me. And I'm like, I mean, I think it's brilliant, right? And it's so interesting when you can start to understand this. And there are so many different distinctions in relationships. I think the 5 love languages is great. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Like, explore the different relationship aspects. Because if you can understand your relationship and get that done, it will just lead to such a more fulfilling life, because your relationship, your personal relationship, can affect so many different areas. So you need to get this down. This is like a must. So even though I've given a lot of stories, I just want to leave you with this, and that's understanding your own relationship patterns at the moment. So let's say you're more masculine, right? You resonated with all the masculine side of things. Like in my last video, you feel that, I'm really driven. I know what I want, very logical. If you spend a lot of time on that side, right, most likely you will attract someone that's feminine. So let's say you're a masculine woman, you may attract feminine guys. Okay, and then after a while you're going to get pissed off and you're like, that shouldn't be happening. And what often happens is women take the masculine energy that they use for work and they bring that back home and they wonder why they haven't got a good relationship. Right, so understanding these patterns is really important. It's the same on the other side. So let's say you're a very feminine guy, you would attract a more masculine type of woman. Right? And if that's where you live, that's cool. And we all have a sort of predominant one that we are. But I want you guys to be aware of this, because you'll be attracting certain types of people depending on the sort of energy that you're giving off. So if you want to change the type of your relationship that you're having, you need to be able to move into the type of energy and the sort of, whether it's masculine, whether it's feminine, that will really help you attract the person that you really want. So with that, I hope you can create an incredibly fulfilling life with all the different types of relationships that you want, and have something that's really stable where you get someone that you can truly bond with and understand all their different idiosyncrasies. So with that, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll speak to you very soon.